Well, hello world. Welcome to Raccoon Point Studios. I'm Sean Bombs. This is the AVM where we talk about audio, video, and music production. Welcome back to part 5 of our series, 5 Essential Pedals for Guitar Players. Beginner guitar players, I should say. Today we're going over delay pedals. And what is delay? Delay is just a pedal that's going to repeat what you've already played. Kind of like you're in the Grand Canyon or a cave or something like that. You ever yell to one side and as a kid and you hear your voice again repeat? That's what a delay does. So this is a vintage delay, or it's modeled after a vintage delay. It is the Behringer VD400. And what makes it vintage? Well, back in the day we used to use tape to create that delay before we had other ways to do that. And they would take 2 tape decks and one would be slightly out of sync, and that's how you would get the delay sound, and they would kind of feed back each other. Later on, other companies made these pedals and they used bucket brigade chips to make the delay sounds. And what made a vintage delay sound like that is the degradation of the repeats. So as it repeats, you'll lose high end, you'll lose low end, and you'll add a little bit of distortion, a little bit of noise into the repeat sound. And today with modern digital delays, they will repeat exactly what you put into them. So the delay will fade out, but it'll still have the same amount of equalization on it that it did going into it, and it'll just be cleaner, more pristine. So let's get into this pedal. There's only 3 knobs on here, which I like. I like less. Okay, so they're at 12 o'clock, like I said before. Always start at 12 o'clock. And we have our repeat rate, and that is going to be the speed or the tempo of the delay. So you want to set that with the timing of your playing, and that way it sounds rhythmic. So right here we have the echo, and that's just the volume of the echo. It's going to make it from minimum, which you'll have no echo, and then all the way up will be the loudest echo, and in the middle it should be a pretty nice balance. So then we have intensity, and what intensity is basically the amount of repeats. So to the minimum is going to be 1 to 2, maybe 5 repeats depending on the manufacturer, and then all the way to max is going to be infinity repeats, and it's going to get away from you really quick. And with vintage delays, they do something called self-oscillation, which is really cool. You've heard it on Radiohead records as well as some other records, and it's a really fun thing to do. So let's get into it, and I'm going to start at 12 o'clock, and here's the clean sound. And now with the delay, check in my tempo. And let's try something. So I'm going to show you what I was playing without the delay. And with the delay in. Now that's a very elementary way of showing you. It's probably not something I would play, but that's how it was set up at 12 o'clock. So let's see what happens when I change the rate to the max. Not too pleasing. And then let's go all the way to the minimum. So that is the slowest amount of rate that you have. So that's the slowest tempo that you will play to this particular pedal. Some delay pedals will have a very wide range of tempo that you can choose from. With the vintage delay, it's usually a little bit less because of the nature of the technology. as you can hear, it's very, I'm playing something very simple, but it's adding a lot of rhythm to it. It's adding a lot of depth to it. It's adding a lot of sonic pleasures, if you will. So let's move on to the echo volume. I put it to minimum now. And it sounds exactly like my clean sound. So let's blend in that effect, and we'll start at a quarter of the way. And now that's a lot more subtle, and people would like to have their delay lower like that, especially for solos, because you can, it won't get in the way of a new note. So you can hold a note, and the newer notes don't get in the way of the delay, but it adds some length to any of your long notes, and it just gives a little bit of a vibe that you're in a space. So let's do it back to 12. So you hear when it's louder, it gets in the way if you're playing lead. But if you're playing a rhythm sound, this is something you might want. All right, so in that case, it adds to what I was playing. And then let's turn it all the way up to max. And this probably will get in the way of that same little riff that I'm playing. The delay is actually louder than my guitar's original signal. So let's go and check out the intensity, which is how many repeats are going to happen. So minimum is only one repeat. So that's cool. And then let's turn it up just a tiny bit to see where it... And now we're getting into more repeats, and you can hear it fading out. And now here's a quarter. Right, and now we're gonna go up a little bit more. I just want you to really hear how much this intensity plays a role in the sound, and listen to the repeats, how they degrade over time. And it sounds pretty natural because of the high end roll off and the low end. There's something special about that sound. So let's go up a little bit more than 12 o'clock, and see where it goes. It's a pretty long repeat. It's a really long repeat, actually, but without it doing what I was talking about earlier, which is self-oscillation, which I'm going to show you right now. And self-oscillation is basically the feedback loop going back and back through the pedal infinitely, while it's replicating what would happen in this instance. So let's turn it all the way up, and you're gonna see I'm not even playing anything. Trent Reznor called. He wants his pedal back. So you see how many different sounds you can get. You can get outer space sounds with this. I mean, they have a space echo. I've done a video on that on this channel. And just out of this world sounds, or you can get natural sounds that just complement your playing and help with the rhythm of your playing and just add something that you wouldn't get without a delay pedal. So hopefully you have a better understanding of what delay pedals do. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments down below. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because in the next one we're going over reverb pedals. I'll see you then.